Okay, before we continue, just want to clarify how you know where you're at, because you're not sure sometimes if you're working on the backdrop, because the backdrop can actually have its own code, see? And each sprite as well can have its own code. So how do you know which one you're on is you basically, well, what if you clicked on? If you're not sure, just click on it. The other thing you can tell is that you'll see that little image of that sprite on the right corner. So if you're on the wrong section, you can see that that's showing the backdrop code. Dinosaur. You see the little dinosaur. So that will help you understand where you're at and where you should be putting the code in. Remember, all this code currently is going into the dinosaur. Alright, let's control the movements. So, we're going to put something called a forever loop. Because what this basically means is, once that's all set up, everything, once the game started, it's going to set this up once, and then it's going to repeat anything that's happening here forever throughout the game. It's going to constantly check for things like, have you pressed a certain key, have you touched a certain color, or have you accessed a certain sprite, and so forth. So it's a very important control thing that you're going to need. So if you don't have it, the game probably won't work. So the first thing I'm going to put in is I'm going to put a couple of if statements. These are what we call if. It's basically checking for a certain condition in the game. In this one, I want to check if I have pressed the left arrow, then I'm going to move this way. So how do you do that? You want to check if and use sensing menu. You're going to look for if key something pressed. It's going to say key space pressed, but you're going to change that drop down there to the left arrow. So if the left arrow is pressed, what do you want it to do? Well, I want to change my X. Just think about maths. X is going horizontal and Y is going vertical. Plus X is going this way. Minus X is going this way. So what I want to do is I want to change my X. Change X here. See? Change X by, I'm going to put -4. Put the minus in to make sure it's going to the left. The higher the number, the more faster you move. If you want to change that, it's up to you. I'm going to do the same thing again with the right one. So another if, and then go to sensing, do another key. If key right arrow pressed, I'm going to motion and scroll down, change X by just 4. Okay, +4. And I'm going to also change, do another one. So do another if. So you can see it's a whole bunch of different ifs. Just make sure that they're not going inside each other. It should be all separate. Okay, they should all be going inside the forever loop. Okay, if key arrow is going up. Oops, sorry. No, that's right. If the key arrow, up arrow, is pressed, I'm going to change what? I'm going to change Y. Okay, change Y. Okay, by, oh, let's leave it at 10. Okay, and then the last thing for this part is how to control myself for when I touch the ground, or if I'm not touching the ground. This is where it gets a little tricky. Okay, so I'm going to use the word, go to operators, and I'm going to go to the not. Okay, so basically it's saying as long as I'm not doing this part. So if not, go to sensing, and you want to say touching color. So as this is going to say, if I'm not touching the ground, set by gravity, move me down by the gravity. So I say if not touching color, at the moment this is not the color of the ground, my color is brown, or this shade of brown. So how do I select it? If I click on that, okay, it's going to be too hard to try to find a color this way. So the best way to do it is to click on this little box here, click on that, and then you move your mouse over here, and you can see it sort of does a magnifying thing. Look for the color that you want to touch, or in this case not touch. I want to choose this color, click on that. See that? So if not touching the ground color, I'm going to go to motion and go to change Y by, now instead of putting the number 10 in, I'm going to control it by changing the color, changing the Y by the value of gravity. Okay, remember how we set gravity up here? So basically, as long as you're not touching the ground, the gravity is going to pull you down. How does this work? Let's play the game. Before pressing the right arrow, move back. See, I'm holding Y, and when I let go of the Y, it's going to touch. The gravity is going to pull it down. See, holding the up arrow, letting go. Okay, if I'm not touching anything, basically it's going to sink to until it touches the ground. Okay, so that's how that part